Vanakkam. So far we discussed various parameters in basic views, purchase view, 4 MRP views, work scheduling view, and the forecasting view. And also we created those views for the business case materials. As a next step, we must create the plant data storage location views. In this session, we will discuss various parameters in these views and also will create these views for the business case materials. Before going to the session, let us see the answers for the previous session's quiz. A forecast for a material cannot be calculated if there is no past data for the material, true or false. False, because the past details can be taken from a reference material also. So based on that, we can do the forecast. Can we select several periods to be considered in the past to arrive at the forecast? Yes, we can select. The forecasting model can be selected manually only, true or false. No, both manual and also the system selection options are available. We continue the course with a discussion on the plant data storage location views. We already discussed basic data 1 and basic data 2 under the purchase order text, which are organization independent. Then we created purchasing view, which is a plant specific. After this, we created 4 MRP views, which are plant specific and storage location specific. After this, we discussed and created work scheduling and forecasting views, which are plant specific. Now we will discuss the plant data storage location views, which contain organization independent data and also plant specific and storage location specific data. That is why this is coming under the column organization independent and dependent. Plant data storage location has two views. The first view contains the general data covering storage bin details, storage conditions, cycle counting indicator, number of GR slips, hazardous material number, etc. Then we have shelf life data covering storage period, shelf life, etc. After this, we have shelf life data for advanced planning, contains the details required while using PPDS planning, that is a detailed planning and scheduling process. And then we have the segmentation data to segment the details, the materials based on criteria like quality, customer, etc. The second view contains weight and volume details, which we already maintain in the basic data 1 view. General plant parameters like negative stock load, serial number profile, profit center, logistics handling group. These are also the details which we have already maintained in different views. They are captured here. So here the general data is the first tab in the plant store location view 1. Here it starts with storage bin. Storage bin is the field can be entered by the warehouse staff to identify the location within the store location where the metal is always stored. For example, if the warehouse management module is not there, this field can be used to identify the location. The storage bin field does not have any functionality within the inventory management. It does not have any functions, which means that we cannot get the details. If you want to have any report or something like that, we have to customize and can get it. But it does not have any functionality like to storage metal from here, moving metal from here, and other those kind of things we cannot do. Please note that only one storage bin can be defined for each metal in the store location. That is also one limitation here. And then picking area. Picking area field represents a group of WM storage bins that are used for picking a lean warehouse management. This is used in the lean warehouse management. So when you have integration with the lean, this will be used. And then temperature conditions. Temperature conditions field is simply the temperature at which the metal should be stored. Because certain chemicals or certain food products or certain metals, those metals have to be kept at low temperature. So those conditions have to be maintained here. And temperature conditions can be configured through a configuration path. Then we can use those details here to update the parameters. And storage conditions. Storage condition is similar to the temperature conditions where we'll define how the metal has to be stored. For example, is it a bulk storage or it has to be stored a rack storage, or those kind of details we can define using this. And then container requirements. Container requirements is another field which is defined at the client level. Please take note, this is defined in the client level, and this is used as the same for all the plants. This field defines what container a metal should be stored and shipped, because this is very important details. This is defined in the uh, again configuration has to be done. Okay, so like the conditions, like which how to you have to store it, what is the temperature, these are client based details, so we have to be careful in defining them. Then we have the hazardous metal number. This is also like it is applicable to all, right, hazardous materials. So this also we have to define and put here this number, and then we have to use it. Hazardous metal is not defined in configuration but in logistics. So here we can use a transaction VM01. Using transaction VM01, we can define the hazardous metal number, and then we can assign the hazardous metal here. Cycle counting physical indicator and also cycle counting indicator fixed. These are the parameters to ensure that metal is coming under the cycle counting process. So the cycle counting physical indicator, it is to carry out cycle counting, where we can put it as A, B, C, D. And the fixed indicator is when it is fixed, this indicator will not change when you are updating the ABC classification. If this is not fixed, then during physical inventory indication, this can be updated through ABC functionality. And then number of GR slips. Number of GR slips means we have to define how many GR receipt documents that will be printed during goods receipt, and if it is blank, system takes it as only one. And then what is the label type and label form? This is used to define what is the label type to be printed, for which goods movement, and how many labels to be printed, which printer, those kind of things are defined. Label form defines dimensions, characteristics of the label. Please take note, here there are some fields which are client specific, there are some fields which are plant specific, there are some details which are store location specific. So please go through this each field and understand them, which are all client specific, plant specific, and store location specific. We have to define them accordingly. And because if it is client specific means we cannot change across the plants. If it is plant specific means we cannot change across the store locations. So please understand them by going through that F1 help menu. No? When you go through it, system will say which is client based, which is plant based, accordingly you can define it. Here we have the shelf-life details in the shelf-life data tab. So first it is defined as what is the maximum storage period, which is used to define what is the maximum storage for a metal before it expires. That is the period which is defined. So this is available for information purpose only. It is not influencing any function in the system. This is a maximum storage period which can kept. And then unit of measurement of time. It can be days, months, or years. And then shelf life. Shelf life is defined as the minimum life which determines whether the metal can be received based on the shelf life and the days defined here. For example, if we define the days here, if here I mentioned that if the value is entered as 90 days, but the shelf life, remaining shelf life is 60 days from the date of manufacturing, then GR will not be allowed here. And total shelf life is defined at the client level, right? Total shelf life for the metal is defined at the client level from the date of production to the shelf life expiry date. And shelf life expiry date period indicator rounding value. Here the period indicator defines the period like a days, months, etc. Rounding value rounds up to the nearest unit of measurement defined in the period indicator. Maturity time is the period required by a product after production before it can be used for further production or by a customer. The system considers the maturation time of a product received during pegging. A product requirement can only make use of a product received if the requirement time occurs outside the maturation time of the receipt. That is, only after matured we can use it. So accordingly, only system will consider this as the requirement. And then we have required maximum shelf life. This is the standard value for required maximum shelf life. If the shelf life is taken into consideration when planning a product requirement can request that this should be covered by a receipt that does not exceed certain shelf life. For example, a material, when you are using it, we need at least 30 days shelf life. Then system will go and check whether the remaining shelf life is 30 days. Then only it can be used. If it is only 25 days, system will not allow to use it. These fields are used in PPDS in advanced planning. Now let us discuss segment strategy. A segmentation structure is a combination of two or more segments of any material. For example, a segmentation structure can be a combination of the quality, customer channel, and country or region of origin. A segmentation strategy determines how the system assigns requirement segments to stock segments. This kind of assignment takes place during available to promise, check, and also the material requirements planning. Stock based on segment. Here we can define the segmentation strategy that the system is to use to assign the existing stock or incoming stock, that is the future receipts, to the requirements during planning. The stock sort method determines whether the segment or the customer's requested delivery date should have the higher priority when we run MRP for materials with the segmentation. So these things we have to put these parameters and test them. We'll practice them later when we are working on the planning process. Plant store location two views have details which are taken from the basic views like gross weight, net weight, dimension, those kind of things. And also there are other parameters, the general plant parameters like profit center and serial number profile, loading group, those kind of details. Because for storage location, they need to know what are all the details they needed. So from different views, these are coming here, because some of the organizations they may not provide the other views authorization to the store people, so they can see the required details in this view itself. Now let us see creation of a plant data storage location views. So any view to create, we use the transaction mm01. So we go inside. So we will create this view for the material S02 CP1001. So since we are creating this view, right, we have to go and select that view. Plant data 1, store location 2, both the things we select. Default settings, we go inside. Because already the forecasting up to that is created, system is directly bringing us to this plant storage view here, right? So because it is already there, system is studying, it will be already extended, right? Now as usual, let us refer the training material here for our purpose. So we go to the other screen and we open the TRNG material to refer the details in the storage location plant data view. So let us go to those views. Here we use a minimal parameters, right? Very minimal parameters only we used, because we are not going to deep into these details as of now, right? We are going to just receive and issue them. But when we are having a case-based planning process and other requirements, we will discuss them as a specific topics later. After completing the basic course contents, we will discuss them as a specific topics. I have taken note of all these things like a shelf life, cycle counting, those things I noted them, I will come. Now you see the plant data store location to view. The gross weight, net weight are coming from the basic data view. Already it is popping up. Uh, we cannot go and see the basic data view now because we are in creation mode. So we cannot go there. And also system asking, please assign the profit center. We are not going to assign any profit center as of now. It is just a warning message here. So we can proceed and go it. Some organization, they would have made this as a mandatory field. At that time, you have to give the profit center only. But for our discussion purpose, I made it as a warning message only. Now we are checking all these details. Let us proceed to save the material. Meantime, as I told already, please go through all the fields, right, with F1, F4, those kind of details, and understand your requirements like this. Now, storage bin means what is the purpose? See here it is mentioned that if you do not use SAP warehouse management, it appears in the goods receipt slips, so that the people will come to know, oh, this metal has to be stored in the storage bin. Like this, they will come to know. So this is one of the main usage of this storage bin. Where we do not have the warehouse management, this can be very useful. At the same time, the bin has to be fixed. We have to be careful. Then the number of slips, like these many things, and also cycle counting physical. See here, go through this. This is the physical inventory indicator. It is used in the cycle counting. Those things we'll discuss when we are discussing on the cycle counting. At that time, we'll come back and update this field and use it. Then other things like shelf life, all these parameters, please go through them, put this F1, see the help. Maturation time I explained, right? So you can also go through here, what is maturation time, what is the required maximum shelf life, all those things. Now we checked all them, we create them, created. Now save it. Now the metal is saved up to plant store location to view. You also have to create for up to this plant store location data view. create all the materials. In this session, we discuss the plant storage location view 1, plant storage location view 2. Under first view, we discuss the storage conditions, shelf life data for advanced planning, segmentation data. In the second view, we discuss the basic details and general parameters. These are already covered in other views also. So let us see some of the quiz questions for this session. So what storage conditions can be maintained in plant storage location views? What are the conditions we can maintain? Parameters in plant storage location are both organization dependent and independent. True or false? What is the significance of shelf life defined? Right, we have defined the shelf life. What is the significance? What is SLED? So these are the quiz questions for this session. Answers will be discussed in the next session. So the assignment for this session is create the plant data storage location views for the material for the business case. As usual, please refer the TRNG materials and adopt the similar parameters here. After understanding various parameters in the plant data storage location views, we will discuss parameters in the accounting view and the costing views in the next session. Create all views until plant data storage location views for the materials we discuss in the business case. Whatever the clarifications you need, please put them in the comment section. They will be answered then and there. Meanwhile, if you'd like to hire the dedicated SAP server to practice along with me, contact me at the following email address. Thank you. See you in the next session. Take care. Bye.